Far Side Movie Reviews.
Okay, Farsighted. So, you guys, let's talk about the Great Wall, and we are going to talk about the elephant in the room because a lot of people are saying, "Oh God, really another white savior movie?" So I'm going to give my thoughts on that as well, and I'm all set up over here because I'm not going to do a whole bunch of takes because I can't remember anything. So I got my information set up over here. So you guys, the Great Wall actually did pretty well this weekend. It came in fourth at the box office, but numbers wise, it did clear well over how much it cost to make the film. So I know that studios are happy about that. So let's get into the movie. And of course, no spoilers. The movie stars Matt Damon. It stars Pedro Pascal. I'm going to see if I can remember all these names without looking over. Jin Tien, and I can't remember, Andy Lau and Liu Han, as well as William Dafoe. And it pretty much tells the story of some mercenaries that are looking for the black powder, which is the gunpowder. These guys find themselves at the Great Wall of China, where they encounter the Chinese army that is actually getting ready for an epic battle that they have been preparing for a very long time against some inhumans, let's call them, that enjoy eating human flesh. So they are trying to defend the wall against these folks, and the mercenaries are really caught up in this battle, and that is a synopsis of the film without giving you any spoilers. So let's start out by talking about just my overall thoughts on this film. I actually thought that this was pretty good. It is getting raked over the coals by the critics. They do not like this film. They're probably saying, save your money. And you've heard me say that before about some movies, but I'm not going to say that about this one. I think this might be worth your movie-going dollars. You guys should probably check it out. I thought it was fairly entertaining. It wasn't great. It wasn't John Wick. Whew, John Wick. We're not talking about John Wick now. You focus, Al. All right. But I did think it was entertaining enough for you guys to go check out in the movie theaters. I think that you will enjoy it. The movie certainly does have some of its problems, or some of the problems that people are talking about. Probably one thing that a lot of folks are mentioning are the performances in this movie. And actually, I thought that most of the performances in this movie were not bad, except for Matt Damon. Yes, Matt, you did not do very well in this movie. And of course, I mean, what am I going to sit up here and say, oh, it's because he's a horrible actor? Well, that's foolishness, because we all know that he's not. The reason that he's in this movie is to give this movie some international and U.S. punch because of his star power. So the reason that Matt has a problem in this movie is because the writing for him is really bad and the character is just not very convincing for him. He probably could have pulled this character off a little bit better had he had a better script, and just it would have been developed better for him, but it just wasn't convincing for him. He felt tacked on. A lot of people said this, and I agree completely. He felt tacked on. He did not feel necessary for this narrative at all. Now, some of the other performances in this film, I thought were pretty good. I thought that Pascal's performance was pretty good. I hated William Dafoe in this film. Didn't work for me. I thought that Jin Tian's performance was pretty good. And I thought that a lot of the Asian actors' performances in this film were pretty good. It was Matt, it was your performance that I had an issue with. And I do think that that performance really did bog this movie down. I thought that visually this movie was really good. I'd love the way that Asian directors and cinematographers create a feel of beauty and just kind of a sense of a visual awe when they make their films. It's always so beautiful. It's always so vibrant. It's always so epic in its scale, depending on, of course, the story that you're telling. They do just such a great job. And from that aspect, I'm really happy to see that. Like, I'm happy that American audiences are getting more of or more exposure to that. And from what I understand, this was a joint production between both American producers as well as Asian producers. So, but I'm happy because it's just such a beautiful thing to see. And the director, who is Yimou, what's his first name? Zhang Yimou, also director House of Flying Daggers and Hero. Both of those are very, very beautiful films. So I really like this film visually. Let's talk a little bit about the CGI, because people complained about that and just said, oh, it was a CGI fest. Well, clearly there was CGI in this film. There's no question about it. And you can see it, right? You can see that there was CGI in this film. I did not have a problem with that. I thought it was effective enough use of CGI in this movie. And I thought that it was okay that a lot of the money went to that as well. People complained about that also. I thought the CGI was effective to do what it needed to do in terms of giving us the visuals that we needed to see, especially during the fight scenes. I had no problems with that at all. It was very similar to the CGI in the Lord of the Rings movies, and I think Return of the King, where clearly a lot of that was CGI as well. So anyway, that's my whole take on the CGI. I didn't have any problems with that really. Before we get into the whole white savior piece and was Matt Damon actually the white savior, let's talk about how this film actually could have been better, because honestly, you could have got rid of Matt, you could have got rid of Pedro Pascal, and you could have got rid of William Dafoe and scrapped the whole idea about searching for the black powder. Took away from the movie, didn't need to be there. What should have happened in this film is they should have told this film from purely an Asian epic folktale with a completely Asian cast. Now, if the idea was that we couldn't do that and get mass enough appeal, I'm not sure that that's correct. I just keep thinking about Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and how well that movie did. It took home just about almost every category of Academy Award and Golden Globes. It just cleaned the floor that year with awards. Guys, we had to see that movie. You had to read subtitles when you went to go see that movie. You had to read subtitles. Yet, so many people saw that film and they enjoyed it. And that movie was also a collaboration between US and Chinese investors. But it was an all-Asian film. I'm telling you, The Great Wall would have been much better had they adjusted the narrative, told the story of the conflict that was going on between the beast and those that were protecting the Great Wall, really delve into that and gave us more lore behind that. I think this movie would have done a lot better with the critics, and I think that it would have been a lot more enjoyable. They should have done that. Now, I'm thinking about some actors. I don't even know if is Chow Yun-fat still acting? Somebody put it down in the comments. I don't know. I haven't heard anything from him in a while. But listen, I even like Donnie Yen in a role that was kind of like Matt Damon's role. Of course, not the same narrative, but kind of like a starring role. An all-Asian cast, I think, would have been very powerful. I actually think Jet Li may not have done bad in that role as well. Especially if it was an all Asian film, because we wouldn't have had to worry about the whole English piece as well. And they could have just done the English dub, which I actually is getting a lot better these days, you guys. But that's my take on what I think they should have done and how they could have adjusted this narrative to make it a lot better. Oh, I'm at 7 minutes and 23 seconds. Okay, so let's talk about Matt Damon and the whole white savior piece, and was he that in this movie? No, he was not. So when I think about white savior films, and let me just say that I am all for more diversity in leads in films, especially in American cinema. We need to see more Asians, more African Americans, more Latinos, we just need more diversity in leads in American films. So I support that. But this was not a case of a white savior film, because there was nothing remarkable about Matt Damon's character that set him apart from the others. It was not like he had some special skill or ability that only he could pull off, that only he could do to save the day. This film does not portray him in that light at all. I almost gave you a spoiler, but I stopped myself. It doesn't do that at all. So he's certainly not a white savior in this film. That is not the case at all. And when you see it, I think that you'll agree with me when I say that. So this is not a case of white savior films. Have we seen some white savior films? Absolutely. Hollywood has produced some films like that, but this is not what that is. So, you guys, that's my take on The Great Wall. I think if you got an interest in it, go and check it out, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. You know that I do appreciate it. Guys, please make sure that you subscribe. If it hasn't popped up yet, it will. That little button, don't you go anywhere until it does. With me doing like this, you can subscribe by pressing that, or the white text that's somewhere on the bottom of the screen that says subscribe here. Guys, if you like this, then please make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you thought that I babbled and didn't know what I was talking about, then go ahead and give it a thumbs down. Either way, I want your honest feedback, and please comment. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on The Great Wall. And I think that is it. I believe so. There's some other videos floating on the screen that you can check out as well. And with that, I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye, you guys.